Hey guys, this is a tutorial video on how to do custom layers on a Mixing Station X-Air Pro, Mixing Station Pro X-Air 18. The way I have this set up, as you can see, I'll go from left to right. These are Sends-On faders, which they're all available to me just at one press of a button, instead of the normal way of choosing a send-on fader and then choosing what bus or what effects send. Instead of doing all that tapping, I'd rather tap one time over here to choose. Also on that side below, we have a mute effects button. So this button mutes the effects. As you can see, I only have 3 effects on this mixer here. On this layer here, if I go to the all layer, you can see this mutes all the effects. Okay, now up to the top, the meter bridge. That's standard. That's not anything different than what is normally available. Next to the meter bridge, we have the reverb send 1, reverb send 2, and effects send 3, which is, or should I say effects send 1, effects 2, and effects 3. I have them labeled reverb 1, reverb 2, and digital delay 3. Those are the sends. Okay, and then each effect send has a reverb decay reverb time next to it. I like to have that available to me, without having to go here, here, and then here. Okay, so instead of all those clicks, 3 clicks in the middle of a show, I would much rather do 1 click and then just, 1 click, adjust my send, and then if it's a ballad, maybe give it a longer delay. Reverb. If it's a tempo tune, maybe shorten the reverb time. Reverb 2 is the same thing. Typically, I use reverb 2 on drums. So reverb 2 send, go over to, for example, to channel 2, snare drum, and then change the decay. Okay, so that's there. And then delay, we have our feedback time, which is number of repeats, as you all know, and tap tempo. And that's in the custom layout as well. And the rest of it pretty much is the main bus. The main stereo bus is always visible no matter what layers I switch to, as you can see. So I'm switching layers, and you see I don't need to put my stereo bus in the fader layer, because it's always visible. I want that always visible. And then we have a mute all underneath that fader. There's basically a mute to kill all the channels. All right, all the channel inputs. And then we have our layers down to my bottom left. I think I already said that, but all the layers are here. So that's the custom layout. So now let's run over how we do a custom layout like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up to the top right hand corner, your top right hand corner, and go to setup and layouts. Okay, so if I choose this mixer that's showing and I tap it, it's going to bring me to the whatever layout I have, and now I'm in edit mode, as you can see by this grid that's behind all the elements. So I can move things. I can for example, move them around, change things, but before you get into that, of course, you have to know how to place those elements there. So let's go back into this screen, which is edit layouts, and let's tap and hold on the mixer, and then delete it. So it's going to say delete layout mixer, choose yes. Okay, obviously now if we go back, we're back to the factory, the default layer. Okay, which, as you can see now, is got the sends-on faders and the stuff I talked about that I don't like. It's got that the way it came from the factory. So what we can do is, if we go to setup again and layouts, we can choose the plus key, and that will do a new mixer. So now the other one is gone. If we tap on mixer now, we're in edit mode. As you see, everything is all pushed over to one side. For some reason, that's the way it looks when it gives you a new mixer. I mean a new layout. Don't know why. It's kind of funky. It would better open. I guess they do this because these are the three elements that are in the factory layer. So I guess they put those three elements there as a starting point. Okay. So what we want to do is these three elements. If you touch an element, if you tap an element, you'll get a dialog box that'll give you a bunch of options. In this case, I want to delete this. Delete that sends on faders box, that the way it comes from the factory default. I don't like that. I want to put all my sends on faders over on my left side. So and also what I did was the layer. This is as you can see, this is the layer selections. Okay, I'm going to tap that and I'm going to edit it, and I'm going to put it in horizontal orientation. Okay, so now it looks this way. All right. Look up where the time is. In the upper right hand corner, you'll see this selection: move or resize. So when I want to resize something, I tap on resize, and now I can drag the edge of the box and resize the size of the particular element. In this case, I want to put my as you saw in my custom layer, I want to put my layer choices down in my bottom left hand corner. So now that I've resized it, I'll click on move, and now I'll be able to move it down here. Okay, like that. The mixer, the mixer I put in last. I leave the mixer just in the middle for the moment. Of course, it's very small and unusable, but I just leave it there for the moment, and I'm going to put what I need around the other parts of the screen. Okay, so now I want to start on my left hand side, and I want to add my buses, my sends on faders, so that I'll be able to tap each one and quickly have access to my mixes. So I'm going to hit plus, and I'm going to add a button. And as you see, it automatically puts it up in the top left-hand corner. Okay, now I'm going to tap on that button, and I'm going to edit it. I'm going to change the label. In this case, I'm going to change it to front of house, because this is going to be my stereo mix, my left and right mix. So you can call it front of house. You could call it front of house left right if you want. Whatever suits your fancy. For example, front of house left right. And what I do is I always use caps, just to, I don't know, more visible. Just happen to like caps, especially when characters are small. Okay, so front of house left and right is the name of the button. Okay, we want it always visible. Margin we can leave on 1. Theme will give you a color, so when the button is pressed, it'll be a certain color. I make mine yellow sometimes, because that way when I just visually quickly look over and see that front of house is lit up yellow, that means that I'm on the front of house layer. Okay. Now we need to add an action to that, and what we're going to do is we're going to choose sends on fader. Sends on fader will give us another menu, which we'll choose off. The reason we're going to choose off is because we don't want to be in sends on fader. We want our mixer to go back to our left and right mix, which is basically not sends on fader. So we're going to shut sends on fader off. Okay, so now it says, as you can see, add action. It equals sends on fader 0. So that means that When we touch that button, it will not be in sends on fader mode, which automatically will be on our left and right. Our layer will be affecting our left and right mixer. Okay. Touch mode, or it says behavior. Touch mode, single press for this particular use is fine. Okay, so we'll back up. So now we're going to. I want to add right down this row. I want to add all my buses. Okay, so what we can do is we can add a new button, drag it under the other one. Okay, we don't have to resize it because I find that size, which is basically four on the grid, is 4 squares by 2 squares. That's kind of a fingertip size. If that's something we're going to be touching a lot, which if we're running sound and doing monitors for somebody at the same time, that's what we'll be doing. So I leave it that way. 4 by 2, I guess you could call it 2 by 4, 4 by 2. Okay, next we're going to tap on the new button that we made, and we're going to hit edit. We're going to call this bus 1. All right, because this, whoops, I want to use my caps. We're going to make this bus 1 to select bus 1 on our sends on faders. So again, margins fine, visibility always is fine. Theme, that's fine, unless you want to give it a color. Maybe your bass player likes blue, and he's on bus 1, and we can make the button blue. I'll leave that on regular. Add action, okay. Type, again, sends on fader, and then we're going to choose bus 1, okay. And then back up by going back to the back, which is at the top left. Back. Single press, that's fine. Sends on fader 1. Add action, sends on fader 1 is fine. Excuse me. So now back up, and we got bus 1. So now we want to put bus 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 all the way down. So now a quicker way, since we have that set, we want those to be similar, but with a different name and a different bus. We can clone that button, put it underneath. Okay, tap it to edit it. Change the label, which is almost done for us since we cloned it. Let's change it to bus 2. Go over to the action and change that to bus 2. Okay, so that one's done. So as you can see, the cloning feature is cool because that will help us do repetitive buttons pretty quick. Okay, so we're going to edit that. It's a little strange sometimes when you press on a button. Yeah, sometimes you have to press on it once, twice. I don't know. It's a little funky. Maybe it's this particular tablet. I own 5 tablets, and I do all my editing on this tablet, so I never tried it on the other ones. So maybe that's the problem. So we do the same thing we did on the other buttons, because this is get the similar action. So we changed the name. We sent it to bus 3. We switched it to sends on fader 3. Okay. So I'm going to leave that like that and move on, so this video won't be so long. Okay. Obviously, I'm going to continue and do 4, 5, 6 down here, but I'm going to leave that for now. So now the mixer is still in the middle. We're not going to deal with that yet. I'm going to switch over to the other side, to this side over here now. And I want to put my main fader. So I'm going to hit the plus sign. I'm going to add a new channel strip. Okay. Drag this channel strip over to here. I'm going to resize it. All right. So there we go. Again, I always want my middle area here. My middle area here, from here to here, to have as much space as possible. So I only need to really make this this fader about this big. If you want it bigger, of course, you can just resize, and you can move it over 1, resize it like that. Okay. So now we need to set up what this fader is actually going to be. So we click on it, edit it. All right, we'll label it. We're going to label this left, right. Okay. And add action. So now it says here fixed channel. We want this channel, if we go down our channel list, we want this channel to be left and right. Choose fixed channel, left and right. See? Okay, and that's basically it. Back up. Back up one more time. So now, as you see, we have our left and right fader. And this is cool because the left and right fader will always be there, and we don't have to include the left and right fader in our layer. That's basically what I do. So now I'm going to resize the mixer. Actually, I'm going to move the mixer. Move it over to our far left. Okay, our left. And now I'm going to resize it. Okay, so now I want to bring it down to this thing, maximize the space. Okay, so now by default, you have your mixer, and up here in this area, you have, up at the top, you have your, I have my meter bridges showing because that's how I have the program set up. I like the meter bridge. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the mixer, the mixer again, and I'm going to put it to the background. So what that will allow me to do is put buttons on top of it, which the buttons that I want to put, the buttons and knobs that I want to put are going to be in the area above where it says 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, effects 1, 2, 3. That's where I want to put my effects controls and my effects sends, my sends on faders for my effects. Okay, so now I'm going to add another element, and this time I'm going to add a button as well. And it always defaults, it always comes over to this corner over here. So I'm going to move it over to here. All right, I'm going to make it a little smaller. I'm going to resize it. I'm going to make it a little smaller because I want to fit quite a few up here in this strip, moving from where it says DCA all the way to left and right. I want to fit a few buttons here. Okay, so I'm going to make it that size. And now I'm going to tap it and edit it. And again, this is going to be reverb. I'm going to title it Reverb 1. It's effects 1 actually, but I want to title it Reverb 1 because I'm going to put a reverb on that effect. Okay, add action. Again, sends on fader, and this time we're going to choose effect send 1. And I don't know why I like blue, but I'm going to turn it blue. So when the button is enacted, it's going to be blue. Okay, now I need a knob. The knob, I wanted to put it right here in this place, right next to this square, because I want this to be the blue button will be the reverb to choose the sends on fader for the reverb send, and the button, the knob right after it will be the decay of the reverb. All right, so again, choose. This time I want to choose knob. Okay, and I put the knob all the way over in the corner again. So I'm going to put it in place, hit resize it. That should do. Okay, and now click on it and edit it. Okay, this time I want to make this, I want to title this Reverb 1 Decay. Well, there goes, I want my caps. Come on. Okay. Reverb 1 Decay. Or time. We can put time. I don't remember what I put on my layer, but we'll find out in a minute when I look at it, because the time might be too many characters because it's a very small knob. Add action and choose type. And this time we're going to choose, let's see, where is it? Effect. Okay. And it's going to be the plate reverb. That's what I usually use on vocal. You can choose whatever you like. And this time we're going to choose size. Okay. So when we back up, as you see reverb 1 time. and you've got the knob. So obviously we're going to clone those, and we're going to clone those and put them right next to each other to do our other effect, and then we're going to clone it again, and this time we're going to put a tap delay, and we're going to on effects 3, we're going to make that a delay with a tap delay and with a feedback control. So let's do that first. Actually, to do that, I need this space. I want to put the tap delay above this fader here. So let's resize this fader, move it down. Okay, it gives me a little more room there. All right. So now let's tap on the reverb button again. We'll clone it. Whoops, whoa. Sorry about that. I had resize chosen instead of move. Okay, we'll put a little space there. All right, so there's our second one. Let's clone that button again. I find it easier to clone the buttons that we're going to need a few of, and then put them in place, and then change their names and their functions. So let's choose the knob. Let's clone the knob. All right, so there's reverb 2. That's going to be reverb 2 time. And let's also clone the knob one more time. We'll put that over here. Okay. And we kind of have space for tap. Let's do this. Let's move everything over a little bit. And now we'll make a tap. We want to add a button. Okay, we're going to put that button. Let's resize it before we put it in place. Okay. And now that will be the tap for the delay. Okay, so let's change all our new buttons and knobs. So let's tap on reverb. What's going to be reverb 2. Edit. Change the name. Okay, it's already assigned to send on fader, but we want it to be send FX send 2. So let's change that. Okay, now let's back up. Let's go to what says reverb 3. I mean reverb 1 for the one that's going to be digital delay, which is effects 3. Let's edit it, and let's change this into. We'll change this DDL, digital delay. We'll put FX 3. I don't know if that'll all fit in that little space, but we'll find out. And let's go to sends on fader for FX send 3. Okay. Did it fit? Yeah, it fit. So now let's take reverb time that's next to DDL FX 3, and let's make that the feedback for the delay. So we're going to edit that. Okay, we're going to change this to the label to DDL feedback. Okay, and we go to add action, and this time we want to choose. I already have the rhythm delay loaded into effect slot 3, so we're going to choose rhythm delay and feedback. Okay. Also, I forgot about my reverb time on effects 2, because actually it's controlling effects 1 because it was a clone, if you remember. So let's take and let's change that to the hall reverb or whatever is loaded in effects 2 and to size. Okay, so that's correct now. And now for this last button that's underneath the plus sign, let's tap on that and let's assign that. Okay, edit. We want that to be tap. That's going to be a tap for the tap delay, for to choose the delay time. So we're going to add action and effect, I should say, and rhythm delay, and that one we'll choose time. Okay, so let's back up. So as you can see, it's flashing because that's what time the delay is set to right now. So the last thing we can, obviously over here, we're going to still put more of our bus sends. I'm not going to do that just so that I can save time on this video because it's already getting really long. So let's now underneath the fader here, the main fader, we'll put a mute. So we can add a button. We'll drag it underneath the fader right here. All right. We'll resize it like that. And let's tap on it and edit it. All right, so edit. And now this time we're going to call this, we can call it mute group 1 because that's what it's going to control. So mute. Yeah, not mute. Mute group 1. Add action. This time we want to choose mute groups, mute group, and then choose which group we want it to be. So in this case, it's going to be mute group 1. So now we have a mute group 1 over here. All right. We can let's do this. Let's make a mute for all of our effects. So to do that, why don't we clone the mute group button? Clone. Bring it down here. Okay. And edit it. Tap to edit. Okay, we're going to change it to mute effects. We'll call it mute effects. And we will assign it to mute group 4. So now we have to make sure our channels, our effects return channels, are assigned to mute group 4, and that will mute all the effects. So now that that's done, it's not complete yet because I want to add these other buses here, but I'm going to leave it like that for now to make the video shorter once again. So now I'm going to click on where it shows the little icon for the program up in the upper left hand corner, and that will back me out of edit mode. I will click again there. So now I have the functioning mixer. Here's the effects mute. Here's the mute group 1. Actually, what I forgot to do was the mute groups. We might as well make them red, the mute group buttons. So let's go back and do that because that way they'll visibly show us that things are being muted. See, so in other words, they work, of course, because they're set to go. Well, we could make them red, or we could just leave it like this, because obviously all your mutes will show up. So we can leave it like that. But I like to make them red, just because I do. But anyway, that's basically how to make a custom layer. Any questions? I'm sorry it's such a long video. There's really no. Oh, actually, I just found a mistake looking over my layer. Let's go back into edit mode. So what we're going to do is go back into setup, go back into layouts, and then click on that layer. So now we're back into edit mode. The mistake I see is that this is labeled wrong. This reverb 1, the second reverb knob should be reverb 2 time. Let's not get confused. And while we're at it, let's go back and make these mute buttons. Let's tap the mute button, edit, and we'll change the color to red. Okay, let's do that to the other one as well, the mute effects. Edit, change the theme. Theme is color. Change the theme to red. And there we go. So as you can see, we'll back out again twice. So now we're at the functioning mixer. And as you can see, everything is working. So that's it. If anybody has any questions, I'll put my email. I can also email you this mixer and email you the scene from the XR18 and the layout. So and the layers. So if you'd like any one of those or anything, my email will be in the description of the video. Okay, thanks.